I like to think of it like this. Memorization is just about really just owning the answer. Fluency is understanding the why the answer is what it is. The brain needs to see math as a web and not just a list of answers or a list of solutions. So, going back to fractions, these are the gateway to algebra. And when we ask kids to add 1/2 and 1/4 together, we want them to see that 1/2 is just 2/4 with another quarter. So that's 3/4. And that's the foundation for common denominators. If they skip that visual step and just memorize procedure, then later on, they're going to add 1/2 to 1/4, and we know they're going to add the numerators and the denominators together. They're going to get 2/6, which is completely wrong, and in all honesty, completely frustrating. Oh, it matters more than getting the right answer. It builds the brain's architecture for high school math. So therefore, if a negative integer is greater than a positive integer, you're going to end up with a negative outcome in a good way. So I think the first step here is to be the coach and not the player. Ask questions instead of giving answers. If they're stuck on a decimal problem, avoid saying things like line up the decimals. Just say, so where would the dollar sign go? And see how the money makes sense from that point of view. First of all, we have to celebrate the struggle, not the math, right? The struggle in the math is the success. That's what we want kids to get. That's what we want kids to achieve. I often think that when people say they're not a math person, why do people not say they're not a reading person or not a writing person? They would be embarrassed to say they couldn't read. Someone would be embarrassed to say they were illiterate. And I think society has just somehow managed to have this tipping point of you don't need to die on that math hill. Yeah, get your reading, get your writing, but math isn't it's not the be all and end all. And indeed it isn't. But as I said before, it isn't the actual doing the math that it gives you that sense of pride. It's I'm able to struggle with stuff, and I'm able to struggle and keep struggling and persevere and have persistence and have resilience and develop that grit. And all those things are hugely important in our own development. That is it's kind of a byproduct, but we don't really get it in anything else. We don't really get the opportunity in anything else mentally to stick at something and struggle with something where struggling is the positive thing. It's not, I'm struggling with this because I'm bad. I'm struggling with this because I'm strong.